joining us. Chief Market Strategist at Agora Financial is down to SIBO. Alan, we're getting a serious buy the dip this morning, my man.
Right, bad enough to buy. So we had that unwind on Friday, but in percentage terms, it was only 1.5% to 2%. So that's maybe what the market needed, was a flush out. Markets were pretty stable coming into Friday. We were very close to unchanged on a weekly basis. Shook the tree a little bit, but we're bouncing back, getting back to almost all of it. And look at the VIX. We're at the 17 handle of the VIX. It got up to 1999, so didn't even get above 20. That happened multiple times last year. And let's remember, where we are right now is half of where the VIX was in 2018. So it's still not reflected that fearfully in the marketplace.
All right. It still is pretty elevated even after today's nice little pop. I guess we'll have to see it
17.
last. 17? Hey, but we're coming off 12. We were at 12 a couple weeks ago, or a week ago before the coronavirus thing.
That is true, but in relative terms, you've seen a pattern of lower highs in the VIX and higher highs and higher lows in the S&P. So 3,200 is the critical number that you and I have talked about over and over and over again in the S&P. And if you looked at the futures, I think we got to 32.12 or something close to it. So that's the significant floor from that sideways range that we had last summer. That was a resistance top. We blasted through that. That was a target. It got there. Now it's a floor below the marketplace.
All right. One thing's for sure, the market's not going down without a fight. We know that. Evidence. Alan, we want to trade some chips here. We've got our eyes on NXP. You've got your eyes on a few other things. What are you looking at? You want to trade some Intel?
Exceptional Intel. Now this stock is up 30%. Tech is where it's at, obviously. The stock market, the NDX, is up 3% in January alone, even after the Friday fall. So things are strong. Now this is a good opportunity because this stock took off when it had its earnings and made some highs around 69 on the 24th of January. Since that time, it's obviously backed off, filled in that gap, and now it looks like you can lean on that support base. 60 is a super support base in Intel. This stock is 7% off the highs, but it's still up 7% so far this year. So obviously this has been a momentum play for many months, many years, and this just looks like the latest and greatest opportunity to buy when it looks bad. So I'm looking at the April $60 call. Now the April option is going to trade for about $6. We're at 65, so it's $5 in the money. Now I was looking at the March option, but the April option is only $50 or $75 more. So why not buy more time? And it's my usual stock substitution strategy. So it's got a 75 delta, and this particular option has 75 days. And if we get back to those highs again in the next month, two and a half months, then this option would gain 50%.
Okay. So Intel, as we saw, broke out big to the upside. Alan,
right.
Chart-wise, I know you're a technical guy too. I mean, there's nothing to really, dislike, right?
Right, there's nothing to dislike, and this stock is still extremely cheap. Look at the PE. The PE is only 14. So there's a lot of potential left in this stock. This seems to be a relatively conservative approach. Buying an option which has limited risk, obviously, buying plenty of time. Let's see how the market stabilizes here over the next couple of weeks. Let's see if we could attack those highs one more time. Let's remember, every time in history, no matter what the crisis has been over the last decade, the markets have fought back and made new highs. We're getting so many earnings this week, and actually, the consensus now has changed. We may get to a zero growth rate from a negative 2% when it's all said and done. So that's a pretty healthy comeback that, maybe corporations aren't growing like we want, but they're no longer, having negative growth.
Yeah. All right. And at least this morning, the manufacturing situation is not in the dumps. So got some decent fundamental
looking up
situation here. All right. Alan Nachman throwing in the fundamentals. Love it when we cross paths. All right. Alan's Chief Market Strategist at Agora Financial. Like the trade on Intel, and it's still lagging tech as we saw on the chart over the past year, even after its big earnings run. We're going to talk some risk-off assets here in a moment. Gold under pressure this morning, but of course,